It 8:59 on my screen. 9. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this exciting meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission on this 5th day of June, 2025. We generally start these out. Now we can start. We are all here. The Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I generally introduce everybody here. To my immediate left is Tom Rolfe, Commissioner.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
Morning, Tom. And way over there is Brandi Spangler, who is keeping records of all these ongoing shenanigans. To my right is Andy Hunthausen, also a commissioner. Good morning, Andy. We have Nicho from the county attorney's office, and knockdown, drag out Roger Balls, who has been hanging out in a bad place, the CAO of this county. Welcome, everyone. What? I was trying to think, what is the name of it? It's Two Punch Johnson. Anyway, first off is the consent action items, and these will be presented by Mr. Roger Balls.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. You have 4 items to consider today. The first is item 2A, vendor claims report for the week ending June 6, 2025. Staff recommends approval of that item, and Marni Bentley is here today as usual. Item 2B is a request for records disposal, and staff recommends approval of that item. Item 2C is public meeting minutes for April 29, May 1, 6, 8, 13, 15, 20, and 22, 2024. Staff recommends approval of that item. And Commissioners, the last item is item 2D, and it's a claim denial, and staff recommends approval of that item as well. Thank you, Commissioners. Those are all the consent items.
Thank you, Roger. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? Tom? Nothing?
Nope.
I guess they have all reviewed this packet quite carefully. Well, seeing none, is there any public comment on these action items? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve consent action items 2A, B, C, and D.
Second.
As explained by Mr. Balls.
I'm not sure, but in a lot of places, a person whose cell phone rings has to buy donuts. That's just in some places. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the consent action items as presented by Mr. Balls. Is there any further comment from the commission on these?
Nope.
In that case, let's have a vote. All in favor of approving the consent action items as presented by Mr. Balls, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The consent action items are unanimously approved. Thank you. All right, now to the fun part. Action item 3A from Jayson Zander. There he is. Good morning, officer.
And hopefully you can hear me okay. We come before you every year to talk about our plan and get approval for that. I will invite Tracy Kiesel up with me. She's our secretary. She's actually the heart and soul behind our DUI task force. So she will probably have to help me along the way. In front of you, I hope you all have a copy of our action plan and what we have going on. There's a lot of statistics in there, and I'm not going to go into detail on the statistics. The fact of the matter is we still have a drinking and driving problem in our state, our country, and in Lewis and Clark County. So we continue to fight the good fight and do what we can to educate folks, to keep them from making some poor decisions that obviously can result in arrest or even death. So I want to talk a little bit about our board. I'm going to do it a little bit different this year than I have. And our board consists of law enforcement officers, to include myself. We have a deputy from Lewis and Clark County who's the vice chair. And we also have multiple people on the board who are just volunteering their time to do the good work. I do want to talk about some of those folks, some of our ex-law enforcement who come and donate their time, but two of the folks that I want to mention, Dave Clark and Bill Grossman, are both citizens who have actually gone through this DUI process and both been convicted of multiple DUIs. They have been sober for many years, and they are part of AA. They spend their time going to the jails and the prison to try to do what they can do to help. And two great guys, Bill Grossman, I like to talk a little bit about him too, because I actually arrested him for his fourth and felony DUI. And that was the last day he had a drink. So we are doing some good stuff out there. These folks do come around and do some great things. On top of that, I'd like to talk about some of the things that we have done this year and what we have forecasted for the year. Obviously, a lot of what we do is education and try to get folks to make good decisions. Some of the things we do is we hold an annual concert. We bring in the best we can as far as concerts. Some are folks that maybe some of the younger folks don't remember, but a lot of us remember. And then we bring in some local talent as well. So we're still doing that. We do an Alive at 25 class, which works with the court system. When a young person gets a citation, they can opt to take this class and maybe forego some fines or some other things and get some more education on how to drive safe and properly restrain themselves and hopefully not drink and drive. A couple other things we do is we have adopted a section of highway that extends through the city and into the county out on Highway 12 East in front of the auto malls and out over the bridge there. We do twice a year go out there and pick up garbage and clean that up. A couple of the other things we do is for the rodeos. We actually purchase and give them the wristbands that help them identify folks who are old enough to consume alcohol. So we've got our message and logo on there, don't drink and drive. We put that on there. We donate to all the local agencies that sell hunting licenses. We've got a little carrier that says DUI Task Force Don't Drink and Drive, that they keep their hunting licenses in. As you know, many people in Montana carry those with them. For the Super Bowl, we make some flyers and some education stuff that we take to all the pizza places in town that they can put on the boxes of pizza that they're delivering. So hopefully you can get some messages out there. We do pay for a summer intern at the county attorney's office and sometimes the city attorney's office. That's a little bit of but we do that to help get some folks in learning how to do that prosecuting job, which is a tough job, especially in DUI enforcement. And I'm glad to say our intern last year, I believe, is going to be employed with Lewis and Clark County attorney's office. So, you know, that's a good positive thing for our area. And on top of that, we do fund for some overtime shifts for the agencies to go out and do some DUI enforcement. We fund for equipment. I know at the Helena Police Department, We made a huge purchase last year for new body cameras. It's a yearly fee that we have to pay to keep those up and going. And those body cameras can be very crucial for prosecuting the DUIs. So the DUI task force has helped us, the Helena Police Department, fund that too. And then we do different grants for different entities. The one that I can think of that is either happening this weekend or has happened is the senior all-night party. So we've helped with that for some gifts. Hopefully we can keep those kids at that party, because we have officers there that the DUI task force is paying for to make sure they're not drinking and driving. So what we can do to keep everybody safe. I could go on for quite some time, but I don't want to use up all your time. So that's all I have, unless Tracy would like to add. She says she's good. So with that, I am looking for approval of the annual plan, and I would certainly entertain any questions you guys have.
Thank you. This is a very interesting presentation, and you've done it very well. I bet you've done this before, haven't you?
A few times, yes, ma'am.
So, do you have any questions, Mr. Commissioner Hunthausen?
Chair Payne, not as much a question, but just a comment for these folks, and appreciate the work you do. I've had opportunity to be one of your board members several different occasions over the years, and it's always been a good experience. And I'm always impressed with the hard work. And you're right, the heart and soul. She is the heart and soul. Boy,
Yes,
the
sir.
work that you've put in over the years, Tracy, just really appreciate both of you. So thanks to the committee. And I know that we've kind of transitioned out as having a commissioner there, and Kelly McBride.
Yes.
Since we now have a criminal justice services department, we thought that was appropriate for her to participate on there and probably engage at a more on the ground level versus a
Absolutely.
commissioner. But we're happy to participate if you ever need us in different things, I'm sure, in terms of helping out. And I don't know if all the commissioners have had opportunity to sit on the board before. So, coming to one of your meetings sometime might be good. So
Always welcome.
good. Okay. So I guess I'm encouraging my colleagues, if they haven't been to one of the meetings or participated in that, they're pretty interesting, and appreciate the work that you do. And you're right about the summer intern. I think it's probably been more than once where it's been used as a recruiting tool for an opening that has been at the county attorney's office, and definitely helps out. I think County Attorney Downs mentioned that in his budget presentation, that summer intern helps out quite a bit.
Yes.
So thank you for that, and good on you. Happy to support your budget here. Thanks, Chair Payne.
Commissioner Rolfs, do you have any comments?
Just
Questions?
want to thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
In the statistics you present us, it's obvious that Montanans have a problem with impaired driving, and that Lewis and Clark County is among the worst in the state, percentage-wise. And I appreciate the efforts you're making, and I just hope the folks will think before they drive impaired. So many opportunities for people to get a ride.
Sure.
The new ride services that are available now, there really is no reason for somebody to drive impaired if they'll just get their pride out of the way and ask for the help.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for what you're doing, and please continue.
They are letting you off easy. I have questions.
Perfect.
For example, this is the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force. How many other counties have a DUI task force? Or is this, something, there's a lady coming up behind you who's going to give us her name, and she has that information.
Well, Commissioner, I can,
Whoop.
just a quick rundown. I will explain just a little bit on that and expand on it. The funding for the task force comes from reinstatement fees associated with suspended driver's license. So all counties have the ability to do that. I think some of the smaller counties don't have one, but I'll let Tracy say how many. The beauty is the counties that don't have a DUI task force, those funds are dispersed through all the other DUI task force. So
And do the DUI task force counties where we have this important part of our governmental process, do they then help out the smaller counties, or do you,
you know,
or not?
we focus on our own county. We're fortunate Broadwater and Jefferson, our two closest neighbors, both have task forces. I think Tracy's on one or both of those as well. But so they do have their own. We certainly work together. There's a couple of different conferences that we all attend, or we try to all attend and help each other out. But we try to keep the funding as local as possible for our local law enforcement and our local entities.
Tracy,
If you wanna-
would you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy Kiesel.
Could you spell your last name?
Kiesel.
Thank you.
And I'm the Tri-County Buckle Up Montana Coordinator and the Coordinator and Secretary of this DUI Task Force and Broadwater County DUI Task Force. And I'm also Montana's Child Passenger Safety Certification Training Coordinator. On page 7 of our plan, it gives you information about Montana's DUI task forces. There are currently 36 DUI task forces serving 39 counties, and 1 tribal DUI task force representing 5 of our Montana tribes. And like Jayson explained, many of the DUI task forces partner and do things together. But for those counties that don't have a DUI task force, their county funds annually go into an account, and they are split evenly in July of every year amongst the DUI task forces that do have a approved, among the counties that do have an approved DUI task force.
Thank you. That's really amazing. I mean, having grown up here in Montana, this is an ongoing problem. Remember when my son was in middle school, one of his friends climbed to the top of a local, it was in eastern Montana, but he climbed to the top of the water tower. He'd been drinking, he fell off and got killed. This is the kind of tragedy that happens, and it didn't have to do with driving. It just had to do with drinking too much. So I'm in full favor of doing whatever we can. Another question I had, on the budget that is estimated here in the revenue, the reinstatement fees for year 25, it was 35,000, and the estimated for 26 is 14,000. What happened? Why has it gone down so much?
What we have right now is we've had a current change in laws, and it has affected the ability for licenses to be suspended. So our revenue, all of our revenue comes from license suspensions from DUIs. And our county receives half of that suspension, which is it's $200, and we receive half of that. What the unknown is how many licenses are going to be suspended, and when that person is going to pay that suspension fee. So we have to estimate every year, and we were given a heads up by the Department of Transportation to kind of underestimate this year, just because it's just an unknown. So at some point during the year, if that changes drastically, we may have to come back to this commission and ask for a revision in our budget and add some money to it. That's never something that you want to do. This is a program that you'd like to work yourself out of a position on, thinking that people would not be making such risky and dangerous decisions, but here we are. And all I can say is that that's just an unknown amount every year for us.
Okay, so this is not the first time you've had to do an estimate,
No, we have to estimate every year.
and it's not based on last year. It's based on,
Right. We get a quarterly deposit from the Department of Transportation, and we never know what that amount's going to be until it gets to our account.
okay, thank you for explaining that for me. Are there any more questions from the commission?
No.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we need to have a motion. Gentlemen.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force Annual Plan and Budget as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this plan and budget. Is there any further comment from the commission?
Thank you.
In that case, we better vote. All those in favor of approval of the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force Annual Plan and Budget as presented by Jayson Zander, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Commissioner Payne, we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
a signature page that we usually bring to this meeting so that we can turn into the Department of Transportation. I gave that to Brandi.
A signature page for the commissioners to sign, is that what you're?
Yeah, just another copy of that front page so that we can
Sure.
get that turned in on time to the Department of Transportation.
Do you want us to sign it immediately?
Would you mind? Is that
Heck
an
no, it's part of our
option?
job. We've got this pen that is attached.
You've always done such a great job of signing it the day
And-
we present, and then we get to turn it in right away.
Okay. One other thing, and thank you for reminding me this. I am supposed to point out that we have a signature page right on that table in front of Ms. DesRosier, and we ask our attendees to sign in. And I seem to have a hard time remembering to ask people to sign that. And
Some of us signed in on the one outside in the hallway.
you're so efficient. Today is 6. What is today?
While you're signing that, I know that Jayson spoke of the senior all-night party. That is Saturday, this Saturday evening. We start tonight setting up for that. And our DUI task force has an escape room that we do at the senior all-night party. If you've never done an escape room, it's a lot of fun. It's a traffic safety themed escape room. And we've been voted the best activity of the event since we started doing that, which I believe this is our 4th year providing the escape room to the senior all-night party. We actually have 2 identical escape rooms. So we have 18. They sign up in teams of 8, and they are locked in our room, technically locked, the door's just shut. And they spend an hour in there solving traffic safety themed puzzles in order to escape in an hour time. So it's a lot of fun. And the DUI task force has sponsored all of the equipment to put that together and run that every year. And then we give prizes for 2nd and 3rd for our escape room, which are also vehicle themed, automotive kits and stuff for the graduating seniors when they attend our escape room. So we're looking forward to that. It should be a lot of fun.
I have heard about that particular adventure. So, and it's been a very positive reports. Any further comments from commissioners? Nope. Okay. And we signed those documents. Okay. Keep it on your desk. Moving right along. The next item on our agenda is item 3B, revisions to personnel policy 1.2.9, performance and conduct, to be presented by our friend Kari DesRosier. Good morning, Kari.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Kari DesRosier, Human Resources Director with Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is revised Personnel Policy 1.2.9 titled Performance and Conduct. The revisions include an added section on whistleblower protections and an added section on nepotism.
Excuse me, could you say, I'm having trouble hearing, and so the two things were,
Whistleblower protections and nepotism.
whistleblower. Okay, the whistleblower is, thank you. Continue.
The whistleblower protection section will assist the county in meeting federal grant requirements and provide specific definition and direction. The policy revisions have been distributed to employees and bargaining unit representatives for comment for the time period required in policy, and staff recommends your approval.
Thank you. Kari, are there any questions from the commission? Andy?
Chair Payne, Director DesRosier, not really any questions, just an effort to make sure we are fully explaining. But the whistleblower protection's pretty standard in terms of best practice type of language. Maybe just explain that a little bit. The two items, just explain them a tiny bit so that somebody who might be watching today
Yes.
can understand what we're approving.
Yes, so thank you, Commissioner Hunthausen, Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe. The whistleblower protections, we use a lot of language from the MACO model policy, and also we used Anne McCauley, is a lot of her language that's required in the grants. So we referenced stuff that was requested and required in those grant requirements, basically. Previously, we were kind of depending on our retaliation policy, which whistleblowing is, it's a protection of retaliation, but this specifically addresses retaliation for the purposes against people who file claims in good faith alleging waste, fraud, or abuse by the county. So it's a more specific form of retaliation. And then as far as nepotism, we just wanted to get more specific about, we had a previous language in there. We wanted to get more specific about what the county's policy or direction as far as hiring, supervising, or being supervised by family members, and how far above
Sure.
the immediate supervision should go. And we feel like this language does that.
Thank you.
Commissioner? Is there something else?
Nope, thank you.
Oh, that was it.
If I might just comment, I was interested to read the changed items on that are listed in red on here, and I was particularly pleased to see the explanation on nepotism, and in an attempt to try to create or to avoid any undue influence on decision-making processes in the county. I really appreciate it. I know when I was elected to the commission, my wife had been a member of the fair board, and so she resigned after I was elected. And I think that it's really important that we try to treat people in a straightforward manner and not create even an appearance that there might be a problem. And I like the way you've done that. One of the areas I hadn't really even thought about that's listed on there was being in a business relationship. So if somebody's a partner in a business, to have or partner maybe in a piece of land, it might be in a position to create undue pressure on somebody to vote or to support something within our government system that they might not otherwise do. So thank you for clarifying that, making it very straightforward, and allowing us to set an example of how to properly treat people. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one comment too, Kari. On the last page, under references, it appears to me that previously there were none. And now it is reference to specific laws. So we can back this up if anyone ever says, well, that's not fair, that's not right, whatever. So that people on both sides can see if they want to argue about it, this is the basis of it. And I just think that's a very informative way of keeping the ball in the ballpark, so to speak, when it comes to employment relations. Okay. No more questions from this commission. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we need to have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the revisions to the personnel policy 1.2-9, performance and conduct, as explained by Kari DesRosier.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve these revisions. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, let's have a vote. All those in favor of approving action item 3B, the revisions to personnel policy 1.2.9, performance and conduct, as presented by Kari DesRosier, indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say same sign. It is unanimously approved. We have unanimously approved the revisions to the personnel policy. So thank you, Kari.
Thank you.
We have a board appointment. Action item number 3C, York Fire Service Area, and Mr. Connor Fitzpatrick will lead this part of the presentation.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, good morning. Connor Fitzpatrick, Lewis and Clark County Elections Division Supervisor. I bring before you today a couple of items for York. First one is a vacancy. So, Shauna Smith, trustee of the York Fire Service Area, notified Lewis and Clark County Elections Office that she has resigned from the York Fire Service Area Board of Trustees. Currently, we have one individual who has applied for this opening. This individual was actually reached out to by Shauna. So even better.
Reached out what?
Reached out to by Shauna. So Shauna
you.
essentially recruited her replacement, as we typically see with our boards outside of certain other fire districts. So because Michelle Smith has applied and meets the qualifications, i.e. being a registered voter and a resident of the York Fire Service Area, she is therefore eligible to serve as a trustee. And Lewis and Clark County election staff recommends that Michelle Smith be appointed to the vacant seat on the York Fire Service Area Board of Trustees until the next regular election in May 2026. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Connor. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
None.
We've actually had quite a bit of experience dealing with appointments to various fire departments. So we know what this involves. Let's see, I asked for questions. Is there any public comment? Seeing none. Let's have a motion on this.
Chair Payne, I would move to appoint Michelle Smith to the York Fire Service Area Board of Trustees until the next regular election in May of 2026.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the board appointment to the York Fire Service as explained by Connor Fitzpatrick. Any further questions from the commission? Comments? And all those in favor of appointing Michelle Smith to the York Fire Service Area Board of Trustees. Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda, action item 3D, declaring the York Fire Service Area candidate elected by acclamation. And this will be presented by Mr. Connor Fitzpatrick.
Good morning again, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Connor Fitzpatrick, Lewis and Clark County Elections Division Supervisor. So you may remember that back on May, I believe it was May 8th, we declared candidates for fire districts elected by acclamation. That memo did name the York Fire Service Area, but it did not specifically name Robert Martin, who did file within the regular candidate filing period, as being one of the folks to be elected by acclamation. So in a effort to make sure everything is above board and all the bases are covered, we decided to bring him by specifically for an official vote, rather than just relying on the fact that York itself was mentioned, but not the individual. It didn't help that I read out all the individual names at that meeting as well. So here we are coming back real quick. So Robert Martin filed during the regular candidate filing period for the fire district elections for York Fire Service Area. May 6th was the regular election day for those. York was a non-competitive fire district election. So therefore, because there were the same or less number of candidates as there were seats open at the election, we bring them forward to declare them elected by acclamation. And in this case, I believe there were just as many people filing as there were seats. If I remember correctly, it was just Robert and one seat open. So here we are. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, Robert, being the only candidate who filed for the York Fire Service Area, can be declared elected by acclamation to that seat.
Thank you, Connor. Do you have any questions or comments, commissioners?
Then here.
Okay. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to formally appoint Robert Martin as a member of Board of Directors of the York Fire Service Area, as suggested and explained by Connor Fitzpatrick.
Chair Payne, I think it's elected by acclamation.
By
Versus a-
acclamation. Yes.
versus a-
Sorry about that.
Second, I second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this? Commissioners? Seeing none, all those in favor of declaring the York Fire Service Area candidate elected by acclamation as explained by Connor Fitzpatrick, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Oh, now one. Okay. Action item 3E is the board appointments. And our CAO, Mr. Roger Balls, will give us the details on that.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is item 3E on your agenda today. There are 4 different actions for you to consider. The way we do this is usually we do them one at a time, and as they come up, we stop for the commissioners to consider action on each item as we go through them.
Okay.
So commissioners, as part of your backup, you have the memo that's been prepared for us by Brandi Spangler. I'll read that into the record. So these candidates all meet the qualifications for consideration of each action you'll be considering today. The first one, commissioners, is for the Airport Board of Adjustment. This is a newly formed board with 3 vacancies. Trevor Kirkland, Howard, SKJERVEM, and Mike Murray applied.
Howard's
Action.
last name is Shervum.
Thank you. Action, staff recommends the commissioners consider the applicants to terms that will begin July 1, 2025 and will expire June 30, 2028. So commissioners, I'll stop right there for you to consider action on this per our usual process.
Thank you, Roger. I have a question. This is a newly formed board. Is it the intent that this board will continue on and on into the future and is not just going to go right after 2028?
Chair Payne and commissioners, yes, that is the intent. And just a little more information would be, we discussed this at a joint meeting with the city of Helena. If you'll recall, we had received an inquiry from the airport authority or from the director of the airport, Jeff Wadecamper, and there's 5 total members of this new board of adjustment. There will be 2 appointed from the city of Helena as well.
Do you know if it is intended that the people sitting on this board, their membership to the board will be staggered so that they don't all go off at the same time?
Chair Payne and commissioners, that's usually our intent. I know that Brandi's been working with the city on that as well too. I actually don't know the answer to how the city is planning to handle their appointment terms. I know they have a policy for committee membership that they follow. That's usually our intent. But for these 3, of course, the recommendation you have before you today has them beginning at the same time and serving 3 terms and expiring at the same time.
And this particular board does not require any membership by this county commissioner.
Chair Payne and commissioners, no, it does not.
Thank you. Commissioner Rolfe, do you have any questions?
No.
Commissioner Hundhausen, do you have any questions? Seeing no questions, do we have any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we appoint Trevor Kirkland, Howard Shervum, and Mike Murray to the Airport Board of Adjustment for a term that will end June 30th, 2028.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this, the 3 potential members of the board. Is there any further comment from the commission?
No.
Seeing none. All those in favor of the board appointments as explained by Roger Balls to the Helena Airport Board of Adjustment, those 3 members being Trevor Kirkland, Howard Shervum, and Mike Murray, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The appointment of the Airport Board of Adjustment, as explained by Roger Balls, is unanimously approved. Next up, the appointment to the DUI task force. Roger?
Yes, thanks, Commissioner. Oh, and I would also like to thank Howard for bearing with me on me not pronouncing his name. I wasn't confident I would say it correctly, Commissioner. So thank you all both for stepping
You're not
up.
the first person to mispronounce Howard's last name.
Commissioners, next on the agenda for you is the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force. Michael Jensen resigned as the representative of the Montana Highway Patrol. Jordan Barfus applied. There were no other applicants. Action staff recommends that the commissioners consider the applicant to a partial term that will expire December 31, 2025.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? So at the end of this term, how is the membership to the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force will somebody else run, or are we going to have to? Do you know the procedure on that?
So Chair Payne and Commissioners, we have a policy that we follow that when terms expire, we advertise the vacancy for a certain number of days. Then whatever applicants we receive, they are distributed to the commissioners. We try to give you 2 weeks of advance before it then is placed on the agenda like we're doing today for you to consider. So when that term expires, that will be the process that we will go through.
Thank you, Roger. That's good to know. Okay. Is there any further discussion from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing no public comment, we have a motion, please.
Chair Payne, I would move to, for the commission to appoint Jordan Barfus to a partial term expiring December 31st of 2025 on the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this appointment to the Lewis and Clark County DUI Task Force for this partial term. Is there any further discussion from the commission? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve this board appointment signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition, same sign. This motion is passed unanimously. The next item up is Fair Board appointment. Roger?
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. As you just noted, it's for the Fair Board. Tammy Burke resigned. Greg Pace volunteered to serve until a replacement can be appointed. We have been advertising for a vacancy on this board since January. There have been no applicants. Under action, staff recommends that the Commissioners consider the applicant to a partial term until a replacement can be appointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Is there any questions, Tom?
No.
Andy? I've got a comment. I got to serve on that board, and it is a very interesting board to work with and see the work they do. It turns out that our fairgrounds pretty much operates based on the money it generates itself. And as a taxpayer, I think that's a fine way to get things done. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can we have a motion, please?
Chair Payne, I'd move that we appoint Greg Pace to the Fair Board for a partial term until a replacement can be appointed.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we appoint Greg Pace to the Fair Board until a replacement can be appointed. Is there any further comment? Seeing none?
I just, I
go
might
ahead.
mention, if I might, Greg has been a long-term member there and won't have to learn anything. And he's even been chair of the Fair Board from a couple of times. And I think this will work out great for to be able to use his expertise for a short time until someone else applies.
Thank you, Tom. Any other comment? Okay. Let's have a vote on this motion to appoint Greg Pace as a temporary replacement on our Fair Board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, Mr. Baltz, Open Land Citizens Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. This is the last appointment for your consideration today. There are 3 vacancies on this board. Sue Kenyon applied. There were no other applicants. Action staff recommends that the Commissioners consider the applicant to a term that will expire June 30, 2028. Thank you.
Any questions, Commissioners?
None.
I have a question. How many people actually sit on this committee? Do you? Oh,
Chair Payne and Commissioners, I don't recall that number now. I guess I would look over to Brandi and ask if she might recall, but I don't recall.
It's just not one of the committees that I've had the opportunity to serve on. And I know many of these committees are kind of obscure and you don't hear much, but they get so much done and in the best interest of our taxpayer and our county government. So I'm glad Sue Kenyon stepped up. Is there any public comment? In that case, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to appoint Sue Kenyon to a term ending June 30th, 2028 on the Open Land Citizen Advisory Committee.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this appointment. Is there any further commission discussion or comments? Seeing none, let's have a vote. All in favor of appointing Sue Kenyon to a term that will expire June 30th, 2028 for our Open Lands Citizens Advisory Committee indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This appointment is approved unanimously. Thank you. We have come to the portion of our agenda where we can take public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above, excuse me. And our rules, we can take public comment, but we can't answer back. So you say whatever you need to. State your name first.
My name is Tom Rigg, and I'm here regarding 7710 North Montana Avenue. 4 weeks ago, I presented you with a citizen petition signed by 77 county residents. The petition asked you to ask Judge Menahan to reopen the estate of Rose Wiseman and resolve the property ownership issues that currently plague the property and are prohibiting county employees from serving warrants and addressing the ongoing health and safety issues at the property. Since then, this petition has not been on the agenda for your public meetings. We, the petitioners, ask, what is being done to resolve the critical health and safety issues occurring at 77 North Montana Avenue? 2, has there been any attempt to resolve the ownership issue for the property? We request that you add this item to your agenda and discuss your course of action regarding our petition. We would like to know what the process is for addressing our petition. Since a representative from the county attorney's office is present, perhaps you could ask him if it is proper for you to answer this question about procedure.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you for your comments. I am unable to interact during this part of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in. And is there any more business for this commission? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Don't take off.